Hello, grade 5. How are you? I am your English teacher, Maysawinat from Manabir Al-Aqsa School. Today is Sunday and the date is 11 of October 2020.
Our lesson for today is Introduction to Unit 2. Now let's talk about the unit. First, what is the title of the unit? The title is Yes and the Mountains. You are going to read about Suzanne's adventure and the mountains. Now let's think about the type of the text. What is the type of the text? ما هو نوع النص? The type of the text is a personal recount. So, سرد شخصي. Suzanne is the writer. And she writes about the people she went with. She went with Fred, her twin brother, her mom, and her dad. She writes also about the things and the places she saw. Waterfall, cave, cliff, peak, ravine, glacier. A personal recount uses the first person. Suzanne is the writer and she uses I. The first person وهي صيغة أنا ونحن I and we. When Suzanne is the writer and she uses I, like I thought it was fantastic but it was a bit scary too. So لما تكلمت عن نفسها she uses I. But when she talked about herself and Fred, mom and dad, she uses we. So we, when she tells us what she did with Fred, mom and dad, like while we were walking, we heard a distant roar. She tells us what happened in order. In order يعني بالترتيب. أخبرتنا ماذا حدث معها بالترتيب. First, we followed a narrow path through a meadow. A personal recount does not usually contain direct speech. In Suzanne's recount, she tells us what happened and what she did and what she thought. أخبرتنا ماذا حدث معها وماذا فعلت وبماذا فكرت. She begins with a short paragraph. So, رح يبدأ عنا الدرس. The text will begin with a short paragraph. فقرة قصيرة. She tells us where she was, why she was there, and who was with her. أخبرتنا بها. My dad used to live in Switzerland and he worked as a mountain guide. This summer, Dad wanted to visit Switzerland again. In July, I traveled to the mountains with Mom, Dad, and my twin brother, Fred. So, all of the actions happened in Switzerland's mountains.
Dad's favourite walk. My dad used to live in Switzerland and he worked as a mountain guide. This summer, Dad wanted to visit Switzerland again. In July, I travelled to the mountains with Mum, Dad, and my twin brother, Fred. We stayed in a hotel in a little village and we had a great time. One day, Dad took us on his favourite walk. First, we followed a narrow path through a meadow. There were lots of flowers and there were goats with bells round their necks. They tinkled when the goats moved. After that, the path went through a forest. It was shady and quiet. It reminded me of Red Riding Hood, but I didn't see a wolf. After the forest, the path climbed steeply towards the mountain peaks. It led between huge rocks, and then the walk became a real adventure. Dad had some surprises for us. We walked into a deep, narrow ravine. We could hear the river splashing over the rocks at the bottom. While we were walking, we heard a distant roar. Gradually, it got louder. We walked round a massive boulder, and there was the most amazing sight. Water was falling straight down the mountain and crashing onto the rocks below us.